Welcome back to my box van build. In this video I'll show you how we're installing the solar, and then you can watch me struggle to put a ceiling in this thing. Alright, so what we've got going on up here is there are 5 1-inch square aluminum tubes that run across the roof. They are cut to the exact width of the roof. They're all exactly the same. And I showed you in the last video kind of how we made the ends of them. I'll give you a close-up here so you can see what they actually look like. The solar panels are going to mount kind of how I showed in the video where I installed my max fan. There's 4 200-watt solar panels for a total of 800 watts. I'm going to wire them 2 and 2, so 2 in series, 2 in series, and then parallel from there. We are making the final pieces for this to install the panels on top of the bars, and my friend made custom blocks to mount the panels with, which I'll show you here. And then here's a cool little animation he sent me. And that will enable me to remove the panels without taking the bars off the truck. If I was doing this alone, I probably would have just bolted them. But this is a much better idea if I have an issue with any of the panels, or if I have a roof leak and need to remove a panel to get underneath it. It will be easy for me to do that at any time. So we're almost done with that. I'm going to show you the finished product in the next video. So stay tuned for that. After the ceiling is done here, I'm going to install a weatherhead to run the wires into the van. So on the ends of the roof, we have 2 crush plates. They're 1/4 inch thick aluminum. That is to just disperse the stress on the edge of the roof from the bar. The bars, like I showed in my other video, we had 1-inch blocks to cap the ends of them, and then my friend welded them on. We cleaned up the edges to make it pretty. Then we have custom 1-inch spacers underneath that to give us the correct height, because the roof does have a curve to it. And then we use stainless button head screws with flanged lock nuts. And then we even took the time to, like, you know, wherever there was a rivet or something, we made it so it would sit flush on those. I mean, this is a very professional installation, especially for my van. This is like some pro van builder kind of stuff right here. And then the back one, it sits over the steel portion of the roof. So we installed that with riv nuts and used 3/4 inch spacers. Well, today I'm going to install my ceiling. I bought panel. Real wood would have been better, but I went with panel for a few reasons. It's easy, it's cheap, it's thin, it's lightweight. I can wipe it, you know. And I got 3 sheets because I think that's what I need. The van's 10 foot long. These are 4 by 8, and the van is like 6 foot wide. A little more than 6 foot. So I'm going to pick my favorite of these 3 sheets and put that right in the middle. And then I'm going to cut sides, and then there'll be an extra piece or 2, you know, on one end or the other. Probably on the front of the van. That way when I'm laying in bed, I'm not staring at a cut line. But the first thing I'm going to do is take some measurements and mark some things out, and then go from there. All right, so on the ceiling, I'm going to have several things going on. I have a 6-pack of little LED puck lights. I've got the max fan. I'm gonna have my wood stove exhaust, like right here or something. And I'm going to have a little conduit box, like a 2-gang, like a 4x4 junction, kind of up front above the door. And that's going to be where the solar and whatever else in the ceiling or on the roof all comes together, and that's going to go over to where my command center will be. So for now, I just need to get the panel cut so it'll fit in the van, and then mark out where the max fan's going to go and cut that hole. One trick I'm going to do right away, because the plan, I am going to glue the panel like for final installation, which I'll probably regret someday, but I'm going to screw it to the roof supports. I'm going to temporarily install it with screws too, as I'm figuring stuff out, but I am gonna get some like decorative, probably like either black or brass looking screws to install it with. So first I'm going to take wherever a roof support is and just mark a line on the wall right around where center is on the roof support. Then I can easily locate it, you know, when I have the panel up there. And that's a good idea to do for anything, pretty much. If you're hanging drywall in your house or something, just find the supports that you need to like fasten your ceiling to, and just draw a line down the wall so you know where it is. Okay, now I'm going to measure the width of the roof. And here's another thing to mention. On the U-Haul, especially now that I've insulated the walls, there's a little channel here that has a recessed, like, there's an opening here. There's an area that I want to keep open, not like all the time, but I want to be able to run wire up here for whatever. I want to put maybe a backup camera or some rear like off-road lights that I can turn on while I'm at camp and light up the back of the van. So I want to be able to access this at some point. So when I do the wall paneling, I'm going to take that into consideration. Just something to mention. If you have a U-Haul box van or this same style of box van, you know, that's a good spot to run wire. So there's a curve to the roof, obviously. So I want to get as long of a measurement as I can for my width. Yeah, we're 76 wide. Pretty much everywhere. I could say it's more than 76, but I'm pretty sure that's the target width that I'm gonna go with. So now I need to figure out my length. I can't do that one by myself, basically. So I'm gonna come to right here, mark that out, and then come off of that, you know, do it in 2 segments. Wow. We're pretty much exactly 10 foot to the front of the box, but there's that little bit of a curve, and I can't make the ceiling curve. So we're gonna come back to where it's pretty much where it starts to curve, I guess. So we're at 5 foot plus 4 foot 11. So now I need to mark out the max fan. And I could just do one full sheet and then, you know, one extra bit. Or I could center one sheet and then do 2 side bits, which is kind of what I'm thinking, because that's harder and more complicated and unnecessary. So that's probably what I'll do. And I'm going to try to make the cuts right at the lines on the panel. Like I'll cut it from the back, but you'll see in a minute. I'm going to try to make it look at least somewhat seamless. I'm really sick of looking at the pink. I am ready to bury this foam and never see it again. So I know this is some pretty weird looking panel when I have it all laid out like this. Like, it's kind of funky. Like, what the hell's going on with all these? I don't know if they used real wood for an outer veneer for this, or if this is all just printed fakeness. But I looked at a lot of panel and considered lots of options. I've done a lot of remodeling and I've done all the styles, you know. I did that kind of weathered cedar look where the wood was all kind of gray, you know. I've done that like reclaimed barnwood shiplap stuff that people do. I've done light wood, dark wood, white. For the van, I thought that this would be a good, at least, color for the ceiling. And I don't want a white ceiling in the van. I see a lot of van builds with white ceilings, and I just don't like that. I don't know. It just has kind of a sterile, like, hospital feel to it, in my opinion. I do like when people do the tongue and groove. That's expensive, you know, and I don't know. Cedar doesn't weigh much, but I imagine you're adding a lot of weight and it's just a bulky, at least for your ceiling, it's a bulky thing to finish the ceiling with. And I'm trying to keep as much height as possible. I'm not tall, but I don't want the ceiling to be like, you know, almost touching my head. That's why I bought a box fan, so I could have, you know, stand up comfortably in it. Now I'm considering doing 2 pieces instead of a centered piece and then an extra, so, because that'll be easier. I think I'm going to have 1 full sheet and then a side to get my width. So yeah, I think it is real wood, like the grain, because look at the back. It's got that same funky stuff going on. So it's just a really thin ply, like a veneer, that they like shaved off a tree and then rolled it out flat. I gotta say, I don't hate it. I think it's looking better already. So first I'm gonna notch out this bit right here. And I think butting it up to the back is the best way to keep it pretty much straight looking, like that. Yeah, and doing 3 pieces would be unnecessary extra work, because the way the panel is designed, it's supposed to look seamless when you cut it lengthwise, or when you butt them up to each other lengthwise. So I just have to make sure I cut the right side. And it should, you know, if my cut is, if I have two factory edges together, it'll look right. All this thinking and measuring and stuff gives me a headache. All right, so it's about 3/4. And the way that I marked it on the front, I don't want to use my circular saw. And I have hand saws, but they're not here. So I'm probably going to do the jigsaw for that. Birch veneer. This is birch. They recommend vapor barrier, and it says the panel will expand and contract with fluctuating conditions. So yeah, we'll see. All right, 39 3/8 to 52 7/8 for the fan. And then I'm going to measure off of this wall for the left to right. And that's what I'm probably going to screw up, because I do struggle with stuff like this. I should be somewhere in the ballpark of 14 inches. Okay, that is 13.5 inches. Sure. It's better to cut small and then, you know, work your way out from there. All right, so if I was doing one sheet in the middle with two sides, then I could have come off center and just measured, you know, like 7 inches off center. But now I'm not doing that. I'm coming off of this wall now with the measurement. And it's gonna be off. I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be off. Because I notched out this corner. This is all squishy, foamy insulation stuff. I'm either going to have to add or subtract like up to 1/4 inch on my measurement. If I come off this back wall, it's pretty much completely straight, but there's like these jagged, hacked off bits of metal where the spring roller was for that roll-up door. So you can't really like rely on that to be completely straight either. These roof supports are probably not installed completely straight. When we were working on the solar up there, we figured out that none of the rivets are like measured out holding the roof on. It's all just, they just eyeballed it pretty much. It was like an afterthought. It's gonna be off, I already know that. But luckily, the Max Fan trim ring, you get like, it's probably almost 2 inches of wiggle room with that. So it's gonna be all right. I'm not too worried about it. Coming off of center would have been easier for this cut, but it would have been harder in general because I would have had more pieces to deal with. So we're just gonna do that. All right, if the hole is ugly or off a little bit, I've got like at least 1 inch. And if I screw this up entirely somehow, I'm out about 40 bucks. But I double checked my measurements, it'll be fine. Okay, it's a little off. I said it would be. It's pretty perfect one way though. So what I need to do is drop my hat. This is one of those things where, kind of like the awning, having a friend, you know. I almost should cut a 2x4 and just wedge it in here to hold this up. All right. We're like perfect left to right, but I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch off the back of the sheet. And then we will be in business. Fits. Yeah. Nice. Another thing I'm noticing now is where my 2 sheets are going to line up. In the front, it's not directly on a roof support. And there's no way I'm going to cut. Well, the end of it's all chewed up looking anyway. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to temporarily screw this to the ceiling. And these are not the screws that I plan on using, but, and I'm trying to put a wood screw into metal. That's not gonna work. Okay. This is hard. I only have 2 screws that are gonna, like, work. Because I still need to buy the screws I'm actually gonna use for this. And I'm not even permanently installing it at the moment. I'm just trying to get it just figured out here. There we go. There's one. Okay. Whew. Okay, I'll put the other one like over here for now. Ooh, don't break. Don't break. Okay. I need more screws. Like right away, because this panel is stressed. But it fits. And that's a good thing. Whew. All right, I have 3 more screws that are too short. So I'm going to put them on and then probably go to the store. Yep, that was too short. Didn't do anything. So if you're doing this, here's my advice. Have a friend help and make sure you have screws before you try to hang paneling on your ceiling. Looks better already, because there's not as much pink. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go buy some screws and I gotta charge my phone. So I'll see you later. All right, I went to Lowe's because my boss got me a gift card. Thank you, boss. I got some screws and I got 6 tubes of Liquid Nails Extreme Heavy Duty. Unsubscribe. Sorry. wood, treated wood, plywood, OSB, drywall, tile board, cement board, foam board, and more. So it was $5 a tube. I got 6 of them, so that's $30. But I'm going to screw this on and cut this piece. And then I'm gonna figure out, I'll show you here. So the end of the board is beyond the roof support. And if I'm gonna put another piece here, I should probably have them both secure to the roof support. But that would look weird having like 2 rows of screws next to each other. So I got something figuring out to do. Plus the edge of this is kind of beat up from getting kicked around the shop a bunch. So I should probably trim it anyway. But I'm just trying to figure out, should I put them both at the roof support and then maybe cut another piece of the panel and run it perpendicular for like an overlay, like, you know, trim piece or something. I don't know. I'm about to figure that out after I screw this the rest of the way on. So these are more of those tech screws that I love so much, and that's not really gonna look great. So I was looking at all the other screws. This is just temporary. I'll probably get something pretty and fatter like the actual screw itself, and then reuse the same holes. But when I go to final install it, you know, hey, that's like almost lined up pretty well. So what would look good here? We got, they're like 1.5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 32. And I went in one on this side. So 31. What's a good increment, you know? All right, so I'm gonna put them every fourth, like every fourth slat or whatever. And I already screwed up by putting these not on the very last one. There's no like even increment for 31, you know, 32 there is, but you saw how easy it was for me to, you know, hang this by myself, so. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I do that on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How'd I make 9 out of that? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Wait. I am like having a stroke right now. That was like dramatically loud. Yeah, that looks all right, even with the silver screws. Maybe I'll just roll with it. I figured out what I'm doing to support the edges too. Crown mold. And that would allow me to get in here to access that to run wire. So there's going to be cabinets, you know, all over, but where there isn't, I could put some crown mold. That'd be kind of swanky. If there were like more roof supports, I wouldn't need to glue it too, but... And I guess if you did one of these with like, you know, tongue and groove or something, you wouldn't need to glue it either. But with the panel being so thin, it's gonna look all like droopy if I don't. So before I figure this part out, I'm gonna cut the next piece and get that installed. All right, I wrote wall, so I cut the right side, and then I almost screwed it up already. But I got my measurement and I figured out, so if you look at the edge and then you look at the other edge, it's made that way, so when you put two sheets together, they, you know, look like one. So I think I got it right. All right, I decided what I'm gonna do with the edge for the next piece. So got that figured out. Get in there, fucker. Boing. Nice. Come on. All right, if you have OCD, close your eyes. Okay. All right, I'm gonna figure out the max fan now. Every van I've seen must have a way thicker roof than I do, because the fan's always like, you know, it's up there. And I guess I could have like mounted the fan higher, but this is obviously meant to be like, you can trim it, because whose roof is that thick? So I don't know, I need to like stick it up here and mark my depth somehow. I also need to trim things to make it actually go on. Mostly this back part. Yeah. That ain't gonna happen. I will... Does that go on the inside of the hole? It must. That must be. Yeah, it's meant to go in between the two deals. All right, I'm doing that later. All right, so for right here, here's the plan. I'm going to mark where the wall stud is and then draw a line. And then I'm going to cut plywood, or keep saying plywood. I'm gonna cut panel to go up to that line. And then I'm going to take this all off. I'm gonna trim it at the line, put it all up, and then I'm going to take some of the panel, either one strip or two, and cut it to run perpendicular over that wall stud roof support and screw that. So it'll look funky, but it'll be the same material, same color, you know, that's the best I can do. They make this trim that to butt two pieces of panel together, but it only comes in like white vinyl. So I could either have just a wood strip with these same screws, or I could have a bunch of screws because I'm trying to screw two pieces at the same time, or I could have a weird white trim thing. So I think my plan is a pretty good one. Yeah, the rest of the ceiling's looking, I like it. Look at that. I mean, if you ignore like the wavy parts, that's why I bought the liquid nails. Extreme. It was cloudy and windy all day, and now it's like, it's nice. It's probably like 65 out. All right, I made all the pieces, and I drew a bunch of lines, and I gotta try and remember which line's the right one. But now I need to remove these, and then cut them, trim up that hole there, reinstall everything, and then make a little strip to go right there. Now, I think I want to do 2 pieces, 2 strips. One would look better, one would look way better. That's probably what I should do. What do you think? And then not even have these little bits there, yeah? I've only got one factory edge, and it has this little bit on it. So I kind of have to either keep those or do it with the jigsaw. Or measure out to this, have a double wide, and then use this center line to put the screws on. That would look terrible. No, I'll just jigsaw it, you know? Just gonna do the longest jigsaw cut ever. Ooh, you know what? I have an idea. I have a really good idea. Ta-da! I have a table saw. And that's perfect for this. So, and now it doesn't even matter if I use the factory edge or not, because I can just make it straight. But I will start with the good edge. This is just barely, like, not too cumbersome for me to do this by myself, I think. About to find out. I definitely can't do like a whole, like a 4x8 by myself. And I really don't need the blade to be that high either. All right, here we go. I want about 1.25 inches on the inside of the blade. That's too much. Like 1 inch and 5/16, but All right. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. I need to either get a 2x4 or something to like hold some of this stuff up, or I don't know, because I'm trying to finagle, you know, 5 pieces of paneling here all at once. If I could get it started on one of the corners, so like that. I really don't want to break my one piece though, because it's fragile. Talking about a like 1.25 inch strip of paneling here. But if I can get one screw in, well, that didn't work. Whew, that's a hot screw. Okay. My screws might be too short now, actually. Why are you so hot? I know you like it hot. Okay. Ow. Yeah, that's just too short. Well, I got 3/4 and I got 1.25 inch. I'm scared those 1.25 inches are going to be too long. I don't want to poke through my ceiling. I could cut the end of it off. I could do that. Okay. I took 1.25 inch screw and I just cut the end off, because it already drilled the hole. You know, because it's a self-tapper. Oh, come on. Don't. There we go. There we go. Owie. Okay. Hey, that doesn't look bad. I mean, yeah, it just looks like a frickin' mobile home ceiling. I'm gonna put one like right here. Stay. Stay. Okay, what I'll do is I'm gonna start the screw. Get it to drill. Pull it back out. Burn my fingers. And then cut the tip off so it doesn't drill through my roof. Sweet. This one I kind of screwed it up, but it's gonna work. Okay. So I need to, this is not gonna fit. Okay, I'm gonna make straight line between these two screws. Right now I'm trying to, since this roof support on the front is like upside down compared to the rest, like the way they built the U-Haul, I've got like that much metal to drill into. Who knew putting paneling on my ceiling would be such a challenging task? I'm getting it though. Making it happen. And then I have to take this all off again and glue it. Ooh. Oi, oi, oi. That'll be okay though. So now I got it all cut, figured out. I got the holes marked out. See, not only is it like this wide, it's also like at an angle because, yeah. All right, I'm trimming the max fan thing. And I'm using a pair of shears. Because it's thin. It's like a real thin plastic, like it's like a milk jug. So as I was measuring this, I was explaining how it seems like a lot of vans I see on YouTube, their max fan is like way up here. Mine's like flush with the ceiling. So I'm thinking like, is my roof like way thinner than other people's van roofs? Or do other people mount their max fan like higher? Do they put like, do they shim it up off the roof with something? Did I install my fan wrong? I wouldn't want my fan to be like up there. I like where it is. But you'll see here in a minute when I install this trim that there's really no like this thing's freaking deep, you know? But anyway, I trimmed it. Let's go see if it fits. Go in there. Get in there. Come on. There we go. All right. Just like that. All right. Yeah, you see how my fan's like nice and flush with the ceiling? You can easily turn the knob, you know, if the power's out and you need to do that. But yeah, I see a lot of vans on YouTube and the fan is like way up there. There's like a freaking space right here. Even like regular Chevy vans too. So I'm wondering, like, I know their roofs aren't like way thicker than mine, so I don't know. Either they insulated way thicker or mounted the fan with like some kind of stuff up there, like shimmed it off the roof a ways. The max fan came with screws. I'm thinking they might be too long. I'm gonna go grab those real quick. Actually, they're right here in my bucket. There we go. Now I could install my lights or call it a night. I gotta just figure out how deep my cabinets are gonna be on both sides and just mark it out, really. That's all there is to it. I have 6 lights. So I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I don't want them like far apart. I want them towards the center, because I am going to have cabinets. I want the light right in the middle. And my cabinet, at least over the kitchen, is going to have a light under it. And I should have got like an 8-pack, really. I got 6. These are tiny. Teeny tiny. They're a little 2.5 inch. They are Ace Goo, which it says 3-year warranty, which is pretty impressive for some, you know, garbage from Amazon. They also have a YouTube channel, an Instagram, and a website. So, heck yeah. And it's funny, it says drill a 2.25 or 2.5 inch hole. Okay. They also make a reading light, which would be pretty cool for over there by the bed. And they have a light bar, light strip, and they even have a picture of a camper van. So they're dimmable. I do have a dimmer switch, which is a different brand, but anyway, I'm thinking I might buy 2 more and have 8, or mount 6 of them, and then back there by the bed do some kind of cooler lighting back there. But black is hot and white is negative, which is, you know, stupid for DC, but they're not that bright. And I got warm white, not cool white, but I think that'll be perfect. 6 to 8 of those in the van will be plenty of light. It's pretty late. It's Saturday night. It's not that late, actually. It's like 8 o'clock, but I am pretty exhausted. So I think I'm going to my friend's shop again tomorrow to finish installing the solar. But I think I will install these lights another day. So those lights only come in a 6-pack, and I just wanted 2 more. But I decided to just roll with the 6 and mount them forward of the bed. I was looking at all kinds of other options for back here. So I might have a reading light on the wall, because they make one that has a little USB-C on the bottom, which is pretty sweet. And then I think I will have a little bit of like a cubby thing up here. Not really a whole cabinet, but like a shelf with a lip on it that I can stuff like clothes in or something. And underneath that, I might do an LED strip, like a nice little color changing, which would be pretty neat. So my next step is to find the materials that I need to do my wood stove exhaust. And then I'm going to pull the whole ceiling back down, wire the lights, cut the hole for the wood stove exhaust, and install that weather head, and then reinstall the whole ceiling again with the liquid nails. I'm not going to do the annoying thing again, so that's okay. The max fan wire obviously isn't supposed to dangle like that. It's going to be in the ceiling when I wire everything up as well. I'm going to run that straight over to that side of the wall and then, you know, run it over to my fuse box. I actually really like the ceiling. It probably doesn't look as good on camera as it does in person. And even the screws that I did use don't look terrible, but I probably will get something a little different still. So yeah, hopefully this video was at least entertaining, if not helpful for you, and not too painful to watch. That shower pan that I said that I wasn't going to return, I returned it. I change my mind constantly. Ask any of my exes, it's pretty annoying. I just was not happy with it, and then I found that the corner of it had a crack in it just from shipping. So it's like, for the price, that thing was not gonna last. I probably would have ended up installing it, and then the whole thing would crack someday on me, and that would just be extremely frustrating. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys this week. I'm trying to keep the videos around an hour. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week.